Coach Sully, Reps and Sweat Martial Arts and Fitness. On this week's workout, what you're going to need to know is your stance. And this week we're going to be a little bit more advanced. So if you're not 100% comfortable with your footwork, this workout is not for you. So you're going to need your footwork, stepping forward, stepping back, stepping to your left, stepping to your right. We're also going to be working our straight punches. That's all we're working this week. So we have our jab, straight out, straight back, our cross, straight out, bringing that rear shoulder to the front and straight back. And then we're going to be working them together, jab, cross. All right, guys, hope you enjoy it. All right, guys, let's get started. Starting with footwork only, moving around, nice and smooth, moving around. So the idea here is to make your steps small. We don't want to be dashing across the mat. Keeping everything together, chin down, hands up, covering the chin, head movement, moving around. Using your imagination, moving on the balls of your feet nice and light, almost like you're tiptoeing. Moving forward, moving back, moving to the right, moving to the left, making sure those feet don't cross. You're just improvising. And the idea is you want to make that circle nice and small, the circle that you're working in, nice and small. I always tell my students that it's a game of inches. The difference between in range and out of range is inches. So the more we can move within that small circle, the more effective we're going to be able to find angles on our opponent. Making sure that head movement is in the mix, chin down. You can even throw your defense in the mix. Nice and light on the feet. This should be your neutral. And we're looking for mobility here, agility, keeping that weight on the balls of our feet. Go. Nice and easy. Head movement. Hands covering the chin. Arms relaxed on the body. Head movement. Keeping those eyes forward. And you can move around. Use your quarter turns. Nice and smooth. Defense. Keeping that foot facing forward. With kickboxing, we want to make sure that that leg is ready to defend. All right, let's do some sit-ups. We can throw our jab cross at the top. Our next round, we're just going to be throwing the jab. You can throw those hooks. And you can do my favorite, which are the elbows. Nice and relaxed, taking deep breaths. Almost there. jab. Now with the jab, you want to throw it straight out. You want to make sure that that shoulder is touching the cheek. Still moving around, move around often. This is one of the only opportunities that you're going to get to move around like this. When you're in front of the bag, your movement is limited. When you are working mitts and pads, your movement is limited. Even when you are sparring, your movement is limited to what your opponent does. So take advantage of these shadow boxing situations and move around as much as you possibly can. Another thing that you want to be working is increase that power, put a little bit more intensity into those punches. You're training, honestly, to miss. And a lot of times, when we don't have that heavy bag in front of us, we pull our punches back. And what that does is that trains us to be gun shy when we have a person in front of us and we're not connecting like we like to. Throw it out there. Increase that intensity. See how hard you can throw that punch out there. A lot of times the heavy bag takes a little bit of the burden off of throwing these punches. And we want to be able to maintain our balance when we're throwing these punches. Head movement, chin down, defense. What I like to also do is right after I throw a punch, I do something defensive. Straight there, straight back to cover the chin. Full extension. We're only working on straight punches. These are your bread and butter punches. These are the ones that you're going to be using the most. Head movement, light on the feet. Moving around a lot. Again, if you notice, I'm not over there, I'm not over here. I'm working in the same small circle, and I'm moving a lot. You see how much I'm moving? I'm stepping, looking for those angles. That's head movement. Go to our sprinter sit-ups. And if these are a little difficult for you, you can just lift the legs up and do something like that. Catching your breath, nice deep breaths. Our next round, we're going to just be throwing the cross. Almost there. Bringing that leg up, clapping, opposite sides. Almost there. All right. We're throwing the cross. Now with the cross, we want to make sure that that rear shoulder is facing the target. We want to get full extension. And now when we're throwing the cross, the power comes from that back leg. And it's pressing, the foot pressing into the floor that generates the force. A big mistake that I see people do is they don't have no contact. They're making zero contact with the mat when they're throwing that cross. You want that to press down. That's going to really, really increase the power. Full extension, punching through the target. Moving around, nice and light. Head movement, hands up, defense. defense. Straight punch. Breathing. And what we're doing here is we are merging two polar opposites, which is mobility and stability. We're merging them two together. And the way that we do that is we are mobile while we're moving around, but then for the split second that punch goes out, we boom, lock into the ground. And that's the timing that you're looking for to really be able to move around a lot and have power in those punches. Full extension, head movement. And you can take this as intense as you'd like to. Really try to increase that power in those punches. Again, this is perfect for increasing your power. A lot of times when we are missing, we get discouraged and we start pulling our punches back. We don't want to be dependent on having a heavy bag or a training partner holding mitts for us to commit to throwing full power in these punches. Moving around. Nice and small circles, small steps, moving on the balls of your feet, head movement, chin down, defense, keeping it all together. There we go. Now let's go into our push-up position. Back straight. We're on our fists. This right here is a good thing for strengthening your wrists, keeping that back straight. And if this gets difficult, your shoulders burn out before the 60-second active rest is done, you can go to your knees like this, but keep your back straight. Our next round, we're adding the jab and the cross together. Almost there. Keeping that back straight. Nice deep breaths. Catching our breath. Almost there. There we go. Jab cross. Good, and take your time. If you need to start off slow to get that full extension that we need, start off slow. Eventually you want to throw those punches out. Nice and quickly. Moving around on the balls of our feet. Keeping that chin down, head movement, defense. You see how I'm mentioning the things that you need to make sure you're scratching off your to-do list when you're moving around. You want to be playing that list multiple times. Is my chin down? Are my hands up? Are my hands coming back to cover? Was that punch straight? Am I moving on the balls of my feet? Almost there. Head movement. Nice and light on our feet. Defense. And again, with that cross, especially now that we're throwing the jab and cross together, we want the timing of it to be when I throw that cross out, I'm pushing down on that rear leg. That's where the power and the stability comes from when we're throwing, especially our power hand. Head movement, chin down, covering the chin, nice and light on our feet, almost like we're tiptoeing. Keeping those arms rested on the body, nice and relaxed. We don't want to be using any energy until we're throwing those punches. Otherwise, we go back to neutral. This is neutral. Boom, explosion. Neutral. Explosion. Head movement. Moving. Looking for those angles with our footwork. Moving to the left, moving to the right, moving back. Alright, coming up on this last round, we're going to do these low planks here. And again, if this starts to get to the point where it's burning your shoulders, just put those knees on the mat. But keep your back straight. Almost there. Keeping that core tight. When you keep the core tight, you're working on the core, and you're also taking a lot of the stress off of your shoulders. Nice and deep breaths. Almost there. Our last round is going to be jab cross again. Almost there. Almost. There we go. Jab cross. Moving around. Head movement. Full extension. Shoulders touching the cheek with these straight punches. See how that shoulder touched my cheek? I'm not moving my head there. It's just when you fully extend those punches, the shoulders automatically touch the cheek. And that's also defensive. I'm hiding my chin behind those shoulders in case somebody's looking to counter when my punch is out. Moving nice and light on our feet. Jab cross. This is your bread and butter. This is the punches. These are the punches that win the fight for you. Making sure those hands come back to cover the chin after they go out. I tell people all the time that when you throw a punch, after that punch is thrown, the hand's next responsibility is to come back to cover. Defense. I also like to do something defensive after I throw these punches. Block and defense. Assume that if you hit somebody, they're going to hit you back. Head movement. Small steps on the balls of our feet. Breathing. Yes. You can really ramp this last round up if you like. Breathing. Head movement. That's going down the checklist multiple times. Almost like every 30 seconds you should be checking off that checklist. Are my hands up? Is my chin down? Did I fully extend that punch? Am I defending? Almost there. Head movement. Making sure those feet, especially that back foot, is making solid contact with the mat when that cross goes out. Pushing off. There it is. Almost there. Moving. You want to be moving on the ground like you're stepping on lava. Boom. Move it. Move it. Ush, ush. Hands up. Ush, ush. Defense, defense. Ush, ush. Ush, ush. Ush, ush. Ush, ush. All right, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Remember, those straight punches, they need to go out fully extended. The shoulder touches the cheek. Enjoy. Coach Sully, Reps and Sweat Martial Arts and Fitness. Let's get it.